Hello, friends, and thanks for tuning into Taste Radio, the #1 podcast for anyone building a business in food or beverage. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of Taste Radio, and I'm with my co-hosts for this episode, John Craven, Jackie Brugliera, and Mike Schneider. In this episode, we sit down with two entrepreneurs making waves in fast-growing categories. Holly Arbuckle, who is the co-founder and CEO of Better For You meat snack company, Singing Pastures, and Swati Alavia, the CEO of frozen Indian food company, Monsoon Kitchens. Met both of them at the Naturally New England, Naturally Rising pitch competition, and they are fantastic people. You folks will love our conversations with those two people. Last call, not for alcohol, but it's last call for BevNET Live. Yeah, right?
Okay.
BevNET Live is happening next week, June 11th and 12th in New York City. Already 625 people are registered for the event. Actually, I think the number is probably higher.
It's higher
as of
than
the
that.
day.
Growing every day.
Yes, as of this day, it's 625. By the time we get there, it'll probably be closer to 700. It will be the most attended, perhaps the biggest, BevNET Live that we've ever had in New York City. And why? Because the people that you want to meet, that you want to hear from, are going to be there. The lineup is stacked. The networking opportunities are stacked. The beverage cooler is going to be stacked. What isn't going to be stacked?
It's going to be stocked, not stacked, Ray.
No, we're stacking things on top of each other.
No, you stock a cooler, Ray.
I never worked in a grocery store, John. I don't know if you.
I mean, neither have I, but you pay attention to the industry you work in for long enough, and you get.
I'm gonna take issue with that because you did work at a Dunkin' Donuts, and they did have coolers in there, didn't they?
We've got top
Worked at a Dunkin'
speakers.
Donuts?
We've got top networking opportunities. We've got great workshops. We've got all kinds of good stuff. I'm just trying to have a conversation with BevNET Live here, and you guys are trying to talk about
I'm more
stacking and
curious about
stocking
Dunkin'
coolers.
Yeah,
Hold on.
I worked there on the weekend. It's no big deal.
Okay, so Jack, you didn't know that John worked at a Dunkin' Donuts?
No,
You didn't know that? Oh my gosh.
This is epic.
Yeah.
Like in college.
I thought we talked about this.
It was in the campus dining hall. We talked about
Why do you
this.
think John can't make himself a good cup of coffee?
Shots. Fired.
Oh my God.
Because he learned at Dunkin' Donuts.
There's not much to learn. I
My
think
machine at home's a
you
Keurig.
just press a button.
Totally not true.
it's Dunkin' Donuts.
That's not true. John has definitely learned some skills since his Dunkin' Donuts days.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have anyone.
I don't drink Dunkin' Donuts, for the record.
Just make that very clear. I don't think we have anyone from Dunkin' Donuts attending BevNET Live.
And we certainly won't now after that. So thanks, Ray.
Sorry,
So
Dunkin'
much
Donuts.
Thanks a lot.
But we will definitely have coffee represented at the show, coffee brands represented at the show. And I'm excited because I think we're kind of at the stage right now where we saw this incredible rise for canned and bottled RTD coffees, and then we saw a bit of a lull, and now I think we're back on that good trajectory for ready to drink coffee. That's just my perspective anyway, because I went to Whole Foods the other day, and
Fuzzy coffee sure hope so.
well, I think last year I saw that shelf shrink quite a bit, and now I'm seeing it expand a little bit.
It just comes in waves. I mean, it is a really, really challenging category for emerging, even well-funded emerging CPG brands to crack. I mean, it's just a stronghold of, Starbucks Frappuccino, and the other big, basically RTD coffee brand is Java Monster, those things are massive. And I think, we've seen some pretty cool innovation, obviously the La Colombe draft lattes and things like Rise with Nitro, and I don't know, it's
Yuan's doing a good job of penetrating that category.
Yeah, I think there's always opportunity there. It just has been maybe a little elusive for something to stick in like a massive kind of way.
It seems like one of those categories where the more innovation you're putting in, the less chance you have of survival. We've seen some pretty innovative stuff happen in coffee, and it's just
I think it's hard because the innovation and make it better puts you in this like coffee nerdery world where most consumers just don't care about that stuff.
Yeah.
They also make their own coffee too, so that also makes it challenging.
Yeah, I think caffeine in general, people are just looking for that functional ingredient. So sometimes when you pile on a bunch of other innovation, people start getting confused. And that's what I've also seen with just RTD teas now. It's just very simple. It's like, how can we get the caffeine or, the herbal remedy and then that's it, just very simple, clean ingredients.
Well, if I may, I'd like to plug an episode of Taste Radio that we published this week featuring Asha Abalesha, who's the founder and CEO of Mason-Dixie Foods, which is a brand of frozen comfort food, better for you frozen comfort food, including breakfast sandwiches, biscuits, frozen burritos, fried chicken sandwiches, all made with high quality ingredients. And during the interview, she said something that really stuck with me, which is consumers don't necessarily want to be educated about a new ingredient. Sometimes just giving people what they want in a better form is the best idea. So I think that's what everyone's saying here.
Yeah, we're just talking about it's got to be a simple story, tastes good, maybe a little better for you to succeed on shelf. Like a lot of education is, it's difficult.
I'll say it for the, 5,000th time. Incremental, not radical innovation.
Okay.
Also, one of the kindest founders you could ever hope to meet.
Oh, she's fantastic, Asha. And that is... I don't know. I have a hard time differentiating between or promoting one episode more than another, but that is absolutely a can't miss episode.
Definitely.
Asha is brilliant with a capital B, and so much guidance, so many insights, such great advice in that episode. You really, really need to tune in.
Genius with a capital G.
Yeah. On the note of keep it simple, I think everyone knows what a high protein bar is, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a protein bar with lots of protein. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
sure.
I think that's one easy way to describe David, the brand of high protein bars that launched last year, famously launched by Peter Rahal, who's one of the co-founders of RX Bar. As we know, RX Bar sold for $600 million. Don't even think about bringing your pinky out.
Why would I?
$600
It's
million.
retired. It's retired. Look, see, it's
billion.
just sitting there on the table.
To Kellogg's
Just chilling.
several years ago, and made a big splash in that with David. I'm holding in my hand 4 of their bars. They have a blueberry pie, a cake batter, a chocolate chip cookie dough, and a double fudge brownie. Why am I mentioning David? Well, that's because last week David pulled in another $75 million, a $75 million Series A round. And as our dear friend and colleague Lucas Southard reported in that story, the $75 million is also taking a step toward vertical integration with the acquisition of Epog, one of its ingredient suppliers. Epog makes a plant-based fat alternative called EPG, and it is an incredible ingredient that makes the GMO-free modified plant-based oil, which reduces calories from fat. And as you may know or may not know, David only contains 150 calories per bar and 0 grams of sugar and still has 28 grams of protein. So they're trying to perfect, or at least Peter Rahal has talked about how they're trying to perfect the protein bar. 0 sugar, 150 calories, and 28 grams of protein.
2 grams of fat.
I mean, I think that's...
You sound like you're an infomercial pitch man here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just waiting for the, if you buy now, you get a free, some sort of Tupperware or like a knife or something.
I'm doing 2 things here. I'm reading from Lucas's story, and I'm also talking about this. I mean, I don't know. I'm just repeating what I'm seeing here. I don't know. Is this the perfect protein bar?
Well, look, I think, my giving you crap about this is that I think this is
I'm still waiting for my apology.
You get no apology. I think this is a brand that's trying to tick a lot of boxes and, certainly has an experienced founder and, team behind it that is well capitalized. So, certainly the question will be, is the consumer into this? And, is the flavor good? Are all these things sort of like going to line up and create magic for Peter and his team again?
Remains to be seen. David, according to Lucas's article, is in over 3,000 retail locations and expects to surpass $100 million in revenue in its first year of operation. I mean, that's pretty nuts. I did see David on GoPuff. They're already on GoPuff. Did you see that?
Well, it's not that hard to get on GoPuff.
Surprised they got you as their pitch man with since they have 7 grams of your least favorite ingredient in here.
Well, they also added artificial ingredients
Does it
in
have
their
cheese
latest
in it?
iteration. It doesn't have cheese.
Sorry,
Okay.
second least favorite
This
ingredient.
is why I wish Jackie over in the
fabulous.
office because Jackie could add some good points without having to rag on Ray. Please, Jackie, take it away.
No. But I mean, I just we gotta.
No,
really,
not Jackie.
just for the-
We're not done. Razzing on Ray.
Right?
Just
They're
for
like,
the,
we're not over
just
yet.
for the listener who doesn't understand, Ray's the guy that'll order nachos, hold the cheese, but then he'll have a packaged slice of cake. So
Packaged slice of cake.
yeah,
Interesting.
You've had a couple of those on here where you're like, oh my god, this packaged like ridiculously high in sugar.
Oh, you do like your baked goods?
Yeah, packaged ones with
I
like
do like-
loads and loads of ingredients. But
No. I like
whoa, cheese.
minimal ingredients. No, it's funny you say that. Huge tangent here. Over the weekend, I did get some nachos. I did ask for lighter than typical cheese
What's
added.
even the
Oh,
point?
why is it-
It's
get
not a
cheese.
nacho. You're just ordering chips.
Jackie, back to you.
It's like,
I understand the lighter cheese, but
Sure.
it's a little weird.
Okay, but I mean, your take on David. I mean,
Jackie wasn't even a safe haven for you.
no.
No, but I feel
She took
weird.
the alley-oop and dunked it.
I alley-oop.
Whatever.
It's not alley-oop.
Yeah, alley-oop.
Anyway, she was on a
Alley-oop.
skateboard when she did it.
Okay.
No,
I think
ollie
she's
to an alley.
Alley-oop, yes.
no.
Excuse me.
It's alley-oop.
It's alley-oop unless
Yeah.
you're on a skateboard. Then it's an alley.
For folks like yourselves,
Yeah.
for a person like yourself who is an active consumer, sports, I mean, on a regular basis, I mean, you would think that a David protein bar, you would be the typical consumer.
You would think so.
You would
Yeah,
think so.
I don't know. I might have like some trauma with some protein bars, like
Oh.
going back to like Atkins bars when I was a kid.
Oh,
so I
goodness.
How
just
about a power bar, anyone?
I thought a Luna bar, that was a pretty popular one.
Yeah.
What? I'm good with Ray having all those.
We didn't finish with Jackie.
I got some bars later.
I can see people buying it. I just also am a stickler for ingredients, and the fact that they're doubling down on something that's, very modified, and I don't know.
I mean,
It
it's
just
it's
might not
pretty
be
hard
for
to
me.
find a super duper clean bar.
Yeah.
They all have something in them that keeps them together, or so I don't know that in terms of just like if you look at that ingredient panel and you're getting 28 grams of protein for 150 calories,
Yeah.
that seems pretty great with like 2 grams of fat, which you need a little bit of fat. So
Yeah.
I don't
The
know
nutrition.
anything about this kind of fat that Pitchman Ray went. What was that again, Ray?
Pitchman Ray?
Pitchman Ray was talking
Pitch-
about a special fat ingredient.
Yeah,
Yes.
the nutrition label like makes a lot of sense. It just feels a lot different too from like RX bar where you have very simple ingredients on the front of
It's
pack.
EPG, the fat system.
I think also like for me, when I said, will the consumer accept it? I think the packaging approach is very against the grain of what kind of mainstream bars are doing, which I feel like are trying to visually appeal to the senses with, even color palettes and whatnot that sort of tie to the ingredient. And I think its wrapper looks very like candy bar
I
like
think
to
it
me.
can sit right next to
Yeah.
Werther's original.
Yeah, I mean, just for listeners who are not familiar with what the David bar looks like, it comes in a gold wrapper. David is the largest font, very prominent on the front. The nutritional facts or the key nutritional info is on the bottom, and it has the flavor name to the right of David. But yeah, I mean, I think for this is a brand that if you buy one, you'll probably buy a lot of them.
I think
I mean,
flavor,
it's not. It's
Yeah.
it's one that you're going to cultivate consumers who are not just going to buy like one of these a week. People are going to be
Yeah.
eating like 10 of these a
but
week. So
to the point earlier that John made, it looks like it's going to sit next to a candy bar. So you put it in the bar aisle, that thing pops out against everything else, and also the flavor cues are really easy to see too because it's just like popping on gold.
yes. All right, shifting gears, I want to talk about another company that's raised some money, and that's Moment. Moment is a relaxation
Moment.
drink beverage. Just picked up $5 million in new funding. If you're familiar with the name Moment, it's probably because you know them from our new beverage showdown competition. Moment won our summer 2020 competition. That was in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The virtual one.
The virtual one. Yes, we did a couple of virtual ones, but that one was pretty unique. And I think people at the time wondered if Moment was just sort of right place, right time. I mean, everyone was anxious. Everyone was really frustrated. And people talked about the need to chill, the need to look after your mental health. And so Moment, again, I think very much a beverage that came at the right time, or beverage brand that came around at the right time. But 5 years later, it's still doing well. The $5 million came from B Tomorrow Ventures. B Tomorrow Ventures made an initial investment in 2021, a second in 2022. And according to the article written by Martin Caballero of BevNET, this latest capital infusion indicates that BTV's, quote, long-term confidence in Moment's vision and potential to lead within the growing adaptogenic beverage space. Now, I would never want to call this an adaptogenic beverage because the average consumer doesn't. We live in this bubble. Everyone knows that this food and beverage bubble where people talk about adaptogens all the time, but even I think we don't necessarily know exactly what they do for you. So I think going with a relaxation beverage is definitely the right way to go. I don't know if their consumers are knowledgeable about why they're drinking. I would assume they would be, but I think that's the right route for them.
Yeah, I think there's, a lot of other players that are looking at that too. I mean, even like Trip, or we have Breeze, or we have other, functional beverages that are promoting the chill. There's also a whole, I went into Lazy Acres the other day. There's a whole social tonic area where you can have different functional, benefits. You can chill, you can feel a little bit happier. It's just focusing on what the end result is going to be rather than what's going into the product that's going to make you feel that.
How many people were in that section?
There was a couple people combing around. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
no,
yeah.
I think you're 100% right, Jackie. Focus on the function, not the ingredient. So with Recess, which is also part of that cohort, they focus on mood, or they describe their products as mood. We saw Four Sigmatic do this as well with a rebrand they introduced last year, where it was less about the mushrooms and much more about what the mushrooms would do for you, the specific function. So in the case of Moment, again, I think the adaptogens are all well and good, but I think what people want to hear is that it's going to make them calm, chill, what have you. Either way, congrats to the Moment team. Aisha Chotani, who is one of the co-founders and the CEO of the company. Really excited for her, and just another new beverage showdown winner making waves in a hot category. Love to see it. All right. Well, we talked about high protein bars. We talked about relaxation drinks. I wonder if both categories are featured in a Q2 2025 Food and Beverage Trends report based on Spate's popularity index. Well, Spate, if you're wondering, is a machine intelligence tool that uses publicly available consumer data, anonymous and aggregated, to identify shifts in consumer behavior. Why am I talking about Spate?
Good question.
Why am I talking about this popularity index?
I have an idea.
And why am I talking about this 2025 Food and Beverage Trends report?
Could insiders get this, Ray?
Insiders, BevNET and Nosh insiders have access to the full reports. If you are not an insider, well, you don't have access to the full report. So
it's easy to become one, though.
Very easy to become one. Just head to BevNET.com/insider, Nosh.com/insider, TasteRadio.com/insider, and you can easily become one, and you can get access to this very, very valuable report as part of your insider.
Did you know,
package.
Ray?
Yes.
Did you know that a BevNET insider is also a Nosh insider? Crazy, Ray. It's crazy.
I'm barely able to function as a result of that statement, that fact that you just shared with me. So thank you. All right. We got a ton of new products, and I do want to talk about these products, but I want to do it in a kind of way that we're going to gamify this. We're going to gamify this a little bit.
Is this the curveball that
Russian
you were talking
roulette?
about?
This is
Oh, here comes the curveball.
This is a bit of a curveball.
No, John, no.
Okay.
No Russian roulette.
You
All
guys
right.
go first. Anyway.
Okay. I've got a bunch of new products, and I want to talk about this
Yeah, me
in
too.
a way. I mean, everyone's going to get a chance to participate here. So
Okay.
I just want to hear
I think you want to
your
go
gut-
first.
I want to hear your gut opinion on this. Is
Okay.
this something you would buy? Yes or no immediately? Yes
Okay.
or no?
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
We're going to start with, now we've featured these types of beverages on the show before, but we haven't had a brand like this. This is a brand called Pizza Wine. It is a canned pizza wine. It's described as a sparkling red wine that you're supposed to enjoy chilled. It comes in this, I believe, a 10-ounce slim can. I can't really see where. It says 250 milliliter slim can, and it contains 11% alcohol. The label is bright red, and the pizza wine logo is large right on the front of the can.
It looks like dripping cheese.
Okay, so yeah, it does actually. The logo, that is. All right, Mike, yes or no?
No.
No. Jackie, yes or no?
No.
No. John,
No.
yes or no?
I mean, no, only because I have a case of it in my office, but I'm definitely intrigued by it. I like the branding, and I don't know, I haven't tried it yet. I have some in the fridge at home. Was going to try it later.
But what makes you want to try this versus the other pizza ones that we had this year?
Well, I mean, this one's like a chilled red wine, which is not what the other ones were, correct?
It says to enjoy chilled. Yeah, it's sparkling red wine.
Sparkling, yeah. So I don't know. I like a sparkling red. So
Okay.
And is it pizza wine because you're supposed to drink it with pizza, or does it taste like pizza?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not the
But
other
I'm
pizza.
scared of it because I didn't like the Pizza Hut pizza wine that was
Because that's
like
pizza flavored wine.
Yeah,
This is for the-
No.
that's ruining this.
No, the Domino's one that they paired with Yellowtail, or the Domino's and Yellowtail collab, was not pizza flavored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. You made us eat a Domino's pizza, so that kind of wasn't a fair.
I missed the Domino's
Added
pizza.
pizza.
I mean, look, there was
Why'd you have a Domino's pizza when I wasn't here?
what's her name? Brightland had pizza oil.
Yes.
Like that was. I really like that stuff. Not flavored like pizza. It just goes with pizza. This goes with pizza.
Okay.
Don't be a hater.
Last question on this: Is it just the branding stand out? Does the packaging jump out for you? Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
The packaging is extraordinary. It's just it's not non-alc, so
That's why I wouldn't buy it.
That's why I
just
wouldn't buy it,
to
yeah. I mean, I think if you want, you asked me for my gut, and I said no, but you didn't ask me what I thought about the packaging.
Okay, it's the
Well,
game.
no.
Is it game over? Can I go?
No.
Game
The
over?
The game is not
I'm
over.
pulling the plug?
Put your products away.
Keep going.
Okay, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna start with Jackie this time. Okay, I have a pouch of Fable Fish Company. It's wild Alaskan salmon jerky. The variety is sea salt. They have other varieties as well. So this is salmon jerky that contains 31 grams per serving, and it contains 1 serving per 2-ounce pouch. Now I know you're a pescatarian,
Yes.
Jackie. So what do you think of this?
I would say yes, but I'm skeptical because I've never really had a good fish jerky experience.
I didn't even know you could have a fish jerky experience. Okay, interesting. John, how do you feel about this?
Can I try some and then give you an answer?
Yes. No.
Well, on shelf you can't try it.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
I wouldn't buy anything like jerky, if I'm being honest.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
You're not a jerky
asking.
guy.
It's like asking Mike if he'd buy alcohol.
Okay, well,
So this is a bad game.
okay, no.
But
hold
I'd
on.
like to try it.
No, I think this is important because, like,
Okay.
what's the addressable audience or what's the addressable market?
Can I
for something
try
like
it
that?
now?
Yes, momentarily.
I'd eat that jerky.
You would eat this jerky.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you interested in this? Now you can talk about.
I like salmon jerky.
Really?
I like fish in lots of different formats. So I'm really intrigued by it. You see that 31 grams of protein on the right? Yes.
Okay. So in a protein bar, less so. You're less so interested in the protein count, but for something like this, which is
I'm pretty
less
sure
processed.
that's just fish and cured fish. So I'd love to try it.
Yeah, let's rip
Can
it
we
open.
try it?
all right. Go ahead. All right. John's gonna try that.
Is
Okay.
this the
What-
only?
what?
Is this the only flavor?
Why does
No.
John only get it?
They have sweet.
I'm the one who said I'd
they
try
have
it.
sweet chili and they have teriyaki. I figured you wanted the
I
more
definitely
flavorful
want
What is
one.
this one?
Yeah, I definitely want sweet
Yeah.
chili.
So I'm trying like the naked version here.
This one has sea salt. Okay.
All right, let's see.
All right. Does this change your mind as to?
210 calories, 7 grams of
Is
fat.
it
Yeah,
good?
there's like, even reading the label makes me want to try it more.
Is it super fishy? Past fish jerkies.
I will
have
say
been
this,
very
Jackie.
fishy.
Oh, look at that.
That's actually a very good question. I haven't tried this. Well, not at this table yet,
It's
but
super fishy.
it's very.
is.
Very fishy.
It's salmony.
The aroma is filling the room. We have a
Oh.
very, very fishy.
This is not
Room.
for me just because
This is awesome.
it still has a jerky texture. Not a fan of the jerky texture.
Okay, fair
No
enough.
offense to the Fable Fish Company.
This is really good.
Well, if you want to learn more about Fable Fish, tune into a recent episode of Elevator Talk where we featured the brand and its founder. Really interesting brand. She has a really great backstory as well. But I do love this
Yeah.
brand, and if I have a,
It tastes
yeah.
really clean. It tastes like what you would expect, like tinned salmon to taste like too. So
Love the
it's
packaging.
really great.
And that mega protein call out too.
Okay. All right, great. Let's move on.
Oh, this is a product I was going to talk about.
You got to hold on. You're not hosting the show today. I mean, I'm hosting the show today, so you got to wait 1 second. Okay. This is a brand called Bashi. This was in the danger fridge, and I was really taken by its packaging. It has a brilliant label. Bashi is in big letters, the B-A-S-H-I. It comes in a two-toned can, orange and white, and this is their peach mango variety. The function is to ease anxiety and boost focus. But what creates this function? What creates this function is kava and functional mushrooms. And on the side of the can, it says perk the F*CK up. So, all right, Mike, we're going to start with you.
I'm in.
You're in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jackie?
Yes, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm in
Jackie's in. All right, John. Hey, you can't. You're cheating. You're sipping.
I mean,
He's
it's a hard
obviously
no
in.
for me. No, I'm kidding. I'm sipping it. I like Bashi.
Yeah, you like Bashi. Okay.
Yeah.
I mentioned the packaging. I'm not necessarily a kava consumer, but this definitely stands out, and I would pick it up. And perhaps, even though I'm not a kava consumer, try it.
I wasn't a kava consumer until I tried Mello.
Mello.
Yeah.
I mean, I think both of those brands, it's nice to see sort of like a new wave of kava products that are trying to combat this with like a clean, more wholesome sort of vibe to them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think this has a real nice, clean label of ingredients, pairing kava with other trending ingredients and
with a nice wholesome tagline, perk the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, that might be something to minimize over time, but I think it's kind of catchy. And otherwise, I mean, the packaging stands out. It's not, I guess, super screaming kava ate you, which is probably good. So
Yeah, I feel like people have steered away from kava in the past because there's been like too much kava, or it's
it's been mixed with other stuff that you might not want to consume. But yeah, fan of these. So
I think the thing that we were talking about earlier, Jackie, where you're focusing on function more than you are ingredients, is what Bashi is trying to do, even though the function is in smaller font than the logo. I would, if I were this brand, consider increasing the size of the font for kava and functional mushrooms, just because some people don't want kava, and it affects some people in different ways, or different people in different ways. So that's the only thing I would say. But in terms of packaging, this is a home run. This is a fantastic looking brand. So well done, Bashi. All right. How about this? This is a repackage from a brand called One Trick Pony.
What is that, legs?
Which is a maker of very limited ingredient peanut butter. And it is Mike mentioned legs because legs pantyhose, if we're really dating ourselves here, it looks like it has this sort of bubble kind of appearance.
Yeah.
It comes in this plastic jar, this bubble sort of appearance, and the cover, the screw cap cover, is actually on the bottom of the jar. All right, One Trick Pony.
That's a good idea for peanut butter.
Jackie, is this something that if you saw this on the peanut butter shelf, you'd be like, hey, this looks like it's for me? Or
Well, I guess my big question is, how much is it? Because for peanut butter, I feel like I wouldn't spend a ton of money.
Okay, well,
so you're more of a Skippy sort of person.
Yeah. If I'm buying peanut butter, I'm buying cheaper peanut butter.
Jackie's been tapped out.
No, I like this. You know, Jackie's making an excellent point here, because this does look quite premium, even though it's a little. It has sort of a kid kind of appeal, because one of these jars is like a lime green, the other one's
it's like Easter colors,
right? Very Easter pastel colors. And the two varieties are crunchy peanut butter and smooth peanut butter. But that's a good point. If something looks really expensive, maybe you're not even going to attempt to pick it up off the shelf.
I think two bits of feedback on this. You know, it's definitely against the grain to sell a nut butter of any kind where you can't actually see the product inside. And I think that's something that could be a bit of a challenge, in that, you know, you can see for certain peanut butters that it's like, you know, kind of coarsely ground, for example, things that like appeal to the senses, and this doesn't have that. You know, that's could work out either way, I guess. My only other just immediate feedback is I saw this one, the crazy crunchy peanut butter first, and the word crazy was a little bit of like a stop and pause and be like, what like, why is it crazy?
Why is it crazy?
Like, what's in it? Is it a THC peanut butter or something, you know?
Okay.
But
Fair point.
yeah, no, I think it certainly really goes against sort of the typical look. So
Yeah, and what's interesting is this is an organic brand, One Trick Pony. They make their peanut butter with organic roasted Argentinian nuts. And for the silky smooth one, just a little bit of Patagonian sea salt. But the organic, USDA organic seal is pretty small on the back. And there's a small note on the front that says just organic peanuts and salt. I wonder if organic would, certainly for a premium peanut butter brand, if you increase the size of that font, how much of a difference that would make for consumers.
You have the certification, you should put it someplace people can see it.
Yeah, I think the packaging's interesting, but it's almost distracting from the quality a little bit. Like if they're going for quality, that's not really, I guess, coming through.
Interesting. I wasn't expecting this conversation because this was promoted online, One Trick Pony's recent repackaging, and seemed like people thought it was a home run. And I really do think it's standout. It's very differentiated. It's very disruptive on shelf. But the points that everyone has made are good.
It's definitely CPG, like social media eye candy for sure.
Are we still playing the game?
Yeah.
No, the game's over.
You didn't even ask me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry. I thought you chimed in. Here, hold on.
You know the answer, though.
Okay, what is the answer? I don't know the answer.
I love peanut butter, so yes, I'm in.
You're in because of peanut butter?
Yeah, just because it's premium peanut butter, so I'll try it.
Peanut butter? I'm in.
Yeah,
Any kind of peanut butter.
Okay.
But I think the one thing that we haven't really talked too much about is just it's smart to have your peanut butter container upside down because just makes it easier to mix it too.
Right, because there's separation typically between the oil. Yeah, well, another brand that does that is Nutso. We've seen Nutso do that as well. So well done.
All right, last.
No, we have one more, and then we can get to yours. Okay.
Oh, you have my product over there.
I do have it. Okay. I'm gonna. This is Hippeas. Everyone knows Hippeas. They're a maker of chickpea-based snacks. They introduced the new cheesy cheddar flavored Pops product, described as light and airy pea puffs, baked, not fried. To be completely honest with you, I'm going to give my 2 cents first here.
Okay.
I've always felt like the texture of Hippeas has not been for me. It's a little too crunchy.
I love it.
It's a little bit like the Captain Crunch. You would scratch the top of your...
It is kind of
aggressive.
It's definitely zigging while others are zagging, for sure.
Okay, because we started with you last, Mike.
Oh, thanks.
We'll start with you. Is this a product that would fill a hole in your life?
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd buy this?
Well, just because it's Hippeas and something different, I would want to try it. So yes, I would buy it at least once.
Okay. Jack, does this do anything for you? Would you change? Would you...
It looks like Kicks.
Toss your regular cheesy puffs for this?
I would eat it because I'm a huge Smart Food fan. So I would definitely eat this.
But Smart Food is popcorn.
Yeah, but still cheesy. You still get the cheesy element.
It's pretty different.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. So, John,
the snack itself, I don't know what you hold. Let me see here. I'm like he's just holding it like in my face. But anyway, I've tried these. They're pretty good, but I feel like the brand proposition for this is kind of confused because it's a brand that's been around for, how long's Hippeas been around? A decade?
About that, yeah.
Kind of became a chickpea snack, and now this is like a chickpea, but also a pea puff. I guess
what is it? Is it a pea or a chickpea? And also,
I think it's a little bit of both.
Did they just process chickpeas to bring them back in as chickpeas?
Well, it's chickpea flour and pea flour.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
And is it fully plant-based with the cheese?
Oh, good question.
It says vegan, so I'm going to assume that's a yes. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I just, my question for this is, having seen a lot of brands that try to make a pivot away from whatever their core was, I feel like that's what this product sort of represents a little for me, and I just feel like it's a little bit of a muddled message, if I'm being totally honest. But it is a tasty snack.
When you get a chance to taste it, there's a bit of nostalgia there for like old school puff cereal, but it's cheesy, so it's kind of an interesting combination of the two.
Yeah, the one thing I would say about this is, and it's cheesy, they're spelling it CHEEZY to get around any controversy or potential lawsuits around dairy.
But not the cheddar.
Yeah, but not the cheddar, ironically. The only reason I probably would not try this, aside from my past experience with Hippeas, is because it's described as light and airy pea puffs. I automatically assume there's going to be a compromise in taste, flavor, and texture because it's described as pea puffs. So I know transparency is great, and I understand what they're trying to do and make it very clear to the consumer what they're getting. but I'm not necessarily moved or interested or want to try this because of the word pea.
Well, these are also what you want, what you probably wanted the other Hippeas to be too, because they're super light and airy, like they're almost fly away airy. So the crunch that you're expecting, the texture you're expecting from these is not what you're getting.
Well, the other reason I might try these is only because the description is slightly reminiscent of Like Air snacks. And I love Like Air snacks. Like Air, my goodness.
Those are awesome.
Best new snack brand in some time.
These are definitely crunchier. They're a little crunchier, but they're not like, if you put them next to each other, on a table and you tried them both, people wouldn't be disappointed in either of them.
No. All right, let's wrap up the banter here with John's. Okay, because do you want me to talk about? Okay,
well, do your little
do my little thing. My thing. I dropped some things there. All right,
clean up in the studio.
Final product is IQ Bar's new salted caramel chip bar that was made in collaboration with the very famous chef Thomas Keller of.
I'm kidding. French Laundry.
The French Laundry, the 3 Michelin star French Laundry, which is in some hot water of its own. Google it. So anyway, so IQ Bar, this looks delicious. It's got 12 grams of plant protein, 1 gram of sugar, and it says it has brain nutrients at the bottom.
These are tasty.
But at a glance, another protein bar we're talking about here. Jackie, what's your feeling on this?
At a glance, I think I would be skeptical and say no, because I would assume it doesn't taste good because it's really leaning on function.
Interesting.
Okay. But because of the plant protein or the brain nutrients?
The brain nutrients just throws me off.
Okay, interesting. But it says IQ Bar.
But what about even on the protein bar scale? Because, none of them taste like a Michelin star restaurant meal.
Yeah.
So you would think that you wouldn't think this is tasty even with salted caramel chip flavor.
I think it's just the brain nutrients makes me think of something that's like very functional. And that's going to be even more functional tasting, I guess.
I like that we're trying to sell Jackie on this, and she's like, no.
No.
Again, I still think I'm
we're trying to get to the bottom of
just not a good
I'm
protein bar
doing my best pitchman Ray right here, and it's nothing's happening.
A consumer of this. You would like these. They're
I
tasty.
think I just don't like protein bars.
What do you think Thomas Keller does
What
here?
are you implying? Jackie needs to start eating some of this brain nutrient stuff,
Yeah, right?
She does. It's like me with Cognizant, I've got to have that to have a good show.
That is some good stuff. All right, John, to you, because you've been
busy chewing housing.
You've already been housing this. Hey, Mikey, he likes it.
Well, first of all, I think a lot of all of the IQ Bar flavors that I've had, especially the mint chip, taste really good. I think I don't really understand at least from the package, I've read the press release, Thomas Keller just sort of getting dropped in there is kind of like, what did he do here? Is there going to be some like weird foam when I open this thing?
Those 3 stars right there.
Is there going to be a bill for like $700 when I open this?
You rip through the 3 stars on the package. But, that's the
thing. Regardless, Thomas Keller or not, it's a solid tasting bar. I really like that this sort of function of IQ Bar products is just basically spelled out for you on the front of the package in a pretty simple way. Obviously, brain nutrients is something that, people might wonder, well, what's that? And they nicely have a kind of bulleted list on the back there. So
for brains,
this is, I think, at least for me, like IQ Bar is a brand where, I see one of their products and I'm like, this is going to be pretty good. And this definitely delivers.
I like how it says that these are for brains, although, I think people know magnesium is there. I don't know if they know about, what vitamin E is for, but MCTs, I think those are also, known for smarts and flavonoids. I don't know about that. And lion's mane adaptogen probably also. At least you got 3 of the 5 that are pretty well known as brain health ingredients.
So if you saw this on shelf next to perhaps a David bar,
sure,
you'd be reaching for this?
I would check that out. I would check them both out, and I'd look at the back.
Okay.
I would reach for this. And that was kind of my point earlier of just like the curb appeal, Like this is another one. It's got the sort of colors that appeal to the senses. Like
you do see some caramel on top. Yep.
Yeah, and it's I think, something that is well thought out for its appearance on shelf.
So I don't have a problem with whey protein either. So I might look at these both and say, okay, for the same calories, I'm going to get 28 grams of protein. So I might go for the David bar.
I will say this. I would have to pick this up, this IQ bar, and I probably would pick it up. And you can feel through the package that it is a bit of a softer protein bar, which definitely appeals to me.
Yeah, and the size too, I think.
Yeah, the size is good.
The size is good too.
Yeah.
It's a really tasty product.
If I was to eat a protein bar and I put that like next to David, I'd probably lean more towards that because I'd want more function out of my protein bar if I was going to
coming
eat one.
around.
She just have the barf bucket nearby because she doesn't like she doesn't like protein bars. So.
There's dual functionality here. There's the protein and there's the brain function, if you want to call it that. So. Yeah. Well, this was fun. We should do this again sometime.
Let's do this again sometime. Maybe next week.
Perhaps next week. Yeah. No,
Great.
we'll be at
Let's
BevNET
do
Live.
it.
All right.